And we are back. Happy Saturday, November 27th, and I'm back for my best bets in the NBA. We got 3 player props, 2 spread picks, but first, let's recap our 3rd straight winning day in the NBA on Friday. It was a 3-2 day, plus 0.62 units. Could have been so much better. Our 2 losses, Ja Morant, he gets injured in the first quarter. Get well soon, not much you can do about that, but hopefully he's okay and he's healthy for the rest of the season. I know it could be a serious injury, so we'll say respect to him. Hopefully he's all good. Giannis over 24.5 points. He finishes on the hook. He had a couple chances late, didn't get it done for us, but Scotty Barnes, our best bet of the day, cashed that one. Warriors -6 and Suns -2.5. No sweat bets. You didn't have to sweat those out. So we're going to keep grinding and keep getting after it. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We're less than 100. Yes, 100 subscribers away from 14,000. Come on, guys. Smash that subscribe button. Only takes a couple seconds and it's completely free. We appreciate you guys. Also, click the like button and comment your best bet for today's slate. The Saturday slate always have some weird games going on, but we're gonna get after it today. And we're gonna start with my best bet of the day. We cashed yesterday. Let's make it 2 in a row. And we're starting with Julius Randle over 9.5 rebounds, -110, taking on the Atlanta Hawks. And more on this game in a little bit, but I can make an argument here for taking Randle's under in points, under 19.5 points, but I won't do that. I'll opt for his over in rebounds. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, Randle, he's averaging 10.1 rebounds per game this season and 17.3 rebound chances per game, which is number 1 on this team. Now, number 2, Randle's hit this over in 4 of his last 6 games. Now, he did struggle yesterday versus the Phoenix Suns. Kind of expected that as we took Suns -2.5, but I think today he gets back on track. Like I said, he's hit it in 4 of his last 6 games. Now, number 3, he's going to play a ton of minutes. Tom Thibodeau, not afraid of playing his starters a ton of minutes, and he's going to play a lot. He's averaging over 35 minutes per game. Pretty sure he's seeing over 30-plus minutes in almost every single game this season, so we're going to see a lot of him today, and that's great because you need him to be out there to get some rebounds. And number 4, you get the Hawks. They start Clint Capella, and John Collins. Now, those are 2 bigger bodies. You're normally going to see teams match up with that, so that's why you'll see Julius Randle playing a lot of minutes, and they should be able to help him out on try to kind of keep Capella off the boards. Normally, when you see 2 bigger centers like a Capella versus a Nerlens Noel or Mitchell Robinson, normally you see these 2 centers, sometimes the rebounding numbers go down because they're focusing so much on each other. And I could see we see that today as the Knicks really try to focus on boxing out Clint Capella. We could see with Julius Randle and the other guys getting a little bit more rebounds than they normally get. But truthfully, number 5, and this is probably the most important one, Julius Randle has played the Hawks 11 times in his career as a New York Knick. Some of them coming in the postseason last year. In 10 of those games, he's had 10-plus rebounds, cashing this over in 10 of 11 games versus the Atlanta Hawks. And the only game he didn't, he had 9 rebounds, just missing on the hook. I like his chances to get it done today, as I'm going to ride with Julius Randle over 9.5 rebounds. I'm going to count on you. And the last time we took your rebound prop, you didn't treat us nicely. I have faith in you today. We're taking Julius Randle. So we're going to stick in the same game. And I'm going to take the Hawks, -4.5, -110 versus the Knicks. Now, we faded the Knicks yesterday, and I still do think Randle, Randle, even though the Knicks got really blown out, lost by almost 20 points, Julius Randle still played 32 minutes in that game. So we're still going to see a lot of Randle. I'm still going to take the Hawks here because the Hawks have been insanely profitable for us on the Call on Our Shot channel all season long. And they cashed for us yet. Well, we didn't pick them yesterday, but man, they blew out the Grizzlies. Can't really say too much about that game as Ja Morant got injured in the first quarter, but still, the Hawks are the 2nd hottest team in the NBA, right behind the Suns, and the Hawks have won 7 games in a row, and that includes 2 on the road, where they've really struggled. Now, granted, those against the Spurs and a jawless Grizzlies team, but still, they're still doing pretty well. But they're at home today, which is why we're riding with them again. They are 7-2 against the spread at home this season, the 3rd best in the NBA. These 2 teams played last in the playoffs, and maybe the Knicks wanted to come out for revenge today, but they did a gentleman's sweep against my New York Knicks, 4-1. And they beat them pretty handily. In the 2 home games they had, they won by 11 and 17 points. And the Knicks, like we talked about it yesterday when we picked Suns -2.5, the Knicks could be, again, without Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson. 2 big losses for their bench. I'm going to continue to ride with the Hawks. Like I said, 7-2 against the spread at home this season. 3rd best in the NBA. And I really think they'll get it done today. Trae Young might be a menace on them. And I want to blame you guys if you want to take Trae Young's props. I considered it. Just not going to take it because I don't want too much in this one game alone. But I like it. I'm going to take the Hawks -4.5 versus the New York Knicks -110. Now moving on to the next play of the day, we're going to move on to a lean. And you'll hear what I mean. It's a lean because we're going to take the Sixers -4.5, -110 versus the Timberwolves. It's a lean because I do not know if Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris will be active. And truthfully, I'd rather not bet on the Sixers if they're not going to have either of those two guys. Well, both of the two guys. So if we see Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris both active, you best believe we're going to be taking the Sixers and their spread. And I'll even take it at whatever line it is officially once those two guys are ruled in. Now, both of them are questionable for today. And today they're taking on the Timberwolves. And, if there's anything I've learned about watching the Timberwolves, and even Karl Anthony Towns said it himself, when they lose one game, those losing streaks pile up quickly. They sometimes turn into 3 games, and then 3 games turns into 17. Karl Anthony Towns said this himself. And yesterday, they lost last game. They lost against the Charlotte Hornets, I believe by 15 or 18 points. It wasn't really a close game. Karl Anthony Towns didn't really show up. Neither did Anthony Edwards or D'Angelo Russell. And they got spanked. And now they have been better this year, but they are on the road again. They are 3-4 against the spread on the road this season. And they're coming off, like I said, an 18-point loss to the Hornets. Today, they're taking on the Sixers on the second half of a back-to-back. And like I said, the Sixers might be getting Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris back, which is the key we need to unlock this bet. If both of those guys are ruled in, I guarantee you we'll take Sixers -4.5. It's a 6 p.m. Eastern time game, a little bit earlier, but the Sixers have beaten the Timberwolves in 7 straight games, or 8 straight times, covering this line in 7 straight games. So with their 2 stars back today, hopefully we'll ride with the Sixers again today. I don't want to be trusting the Tyrese Maxeys, the Seth Currys of the world, but if they get those 2 stars back, we'll be riding with the Sixers. So stay tuned, pin comment down below where we might add some extra plays. Also, make sure you're following us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Calling Our Shot. We appreciate you guys. Now let's move into 2 more player props, and I wish I had my jersey on, but I'm not at home. I'm at my parents' home. Kristaps Porzingis, and we're going to ride with him over 29.5 PRAs, -115 on FanDuel. Kristaps, he's been on a tear recently, and I guarantee maybe that means he's going to hurt us now, but he's cleared. Once he was finally cleared for a full workload about 7 games ago, and they finally started to release him, give him 30-plus minutes. He had not played 30-plus minutes in any game prior to 7 games ago, but over these last 7 games with 30-plus minutes in all of them, he's averaging 26 points per game, 9.3 rebounds per game, and 2.3 assists per game, easily going over this 29.5 PRA line. And the best part, he's cashed the over in 7 straight games. He's hit this over in 7 straight, and I really like this matchup today. Now, even with Luka Doncic back, as Luka was out for a majority of those 7 games, still with Luka back, he's still getting a lot of shot opportunities. Still seeing 16 to 20 shots a game. And I imagine the Wizards will focus on Luka and maybe let Kristaps eat a little bit today. But the best part, Kristaps, he's finally not shooting 100 threes. That was one criticism of him in the playoffs. He was just a 3-point shooter, and that's not what you want from a 7'3" guy. You want him to get in the paint, shoot some post some people up because he's 7'3", and I think that's why I like him the most today. He's been, like I said, shooting 16 to 20 shots. 5 to 8 of them are still from downtown, so he's still shooting some threes, which is good for us in case he wants to get hot from 3-point land. Make this an easy cash, but still, this is a great matchup against the Wizards. The Wizards currently give up the most points per game to opposing power forwards at 24.4 points per game, and they're middle of the pack against centers. So I don't necessarily know if Daniel Gafford will guard him. If he does, so be it. Daniel Gafford, not necessarily the biggest or best defender in the NBA, but what we hope for is Kyle Kuzma to guard him, because Kyle Kuzma will have no chance. Now, it will just come down to if Kristaps wants to make shots, which is very similar for basically any player prop you take. Do they want to make their shots? Do they want to miss them? But still, Kyle Kuzma, maybe will stand no chance. He's too short, and you got KP, he'll just post up and shoot right over him. That's his patented. He just posts you up. Boom, right in your mouth. You can't even stop it. He's 7'3". You can't do anything about it. It's just going to come down if he makes them. So you look at that. So I think he can get it on the points wise. He scored 20-plus points in 7 straight games, which if you want to take his points prop, go for it. But, Kristaps not necessarily known for being the best rebounder in the NBA, but the Wizards have been giving up rebounds to opposing big men pretty frequently, and could Kristaps get us 14, 15 rebounds tonight? I wouldn't say it's likely, but I think you never know with Kristaps. He could go off on a 12, 15 rebound game. This will make this an easy bet, hopefully. Now, we'll take it and we'll ride with Kristaps over 29.5 PRAs. Now, my final bet of the day, and like I said, we might have one in the comments. Just make sure you check it out. We didn't have a lot of player props this morning. Mikal Bridges, under 10.5 points, plus 100 on FanDuel. Now, this pains me to do since you guys know I'm a big Mikal Bridges fan, but I'm going to take this under today, and there's a couple reasons why. For starters, Mikal Bridges has gone under this line in 3 of his past 4 games. His only time he went over, he had 11 points, so barely hitting the over on the hook. Now, he did go under on the hook on 1 game, so we'll count that as an even, as a wash, but still under in 3 of his last 4 games. Now, today he's taking on the Nets, and truthfully, the Nets last year, terrible on defense, but today, contrary to what you might have saw last year, they've been pretty decent. Have the 7th best defensive rating in the NBA. There's a couple other different ways that Mikal Bridges can go under. For starters, foul trouble. He will likely be the primary defender on James Harden, and say what you want about Harden, he's been very up and down. Hasn't been getting any foul calls, and they're definitely not helping him on that end, but still, it's James Harden. You just never know. He could draw 3 fouls on Mikal Bridges in the first quarter. That wouldn't surprise any of him, and not only that, but also majority of Mikal Bridges' his energy will go into the defensive side trying to stop James Harden, and he might even get put onto Kevin Durant. Who knows what they're going to do defensively, but so that's the first one. And number 2, he could just miss his shots because he's not like this guy's going to attempt a lot of shots. He doesn't shoot normally more than 8 times a game. And would it surprise anyone if in a primetime matchup in the Barclays Center, you see Devin Booker shooting 25 times, CP3 getting his, DeAndre Ayton shooting a bunch? Wouldn't surprise anyone out there. So not only that, he won't see a lot of shot opportunities. Mikal Bridges has played the Nets 6 times in his career, only gone over once, so 1 in 6 games he's gone over. That was the game he shot 12 times. And truthfully, the amount of times he shot 12 times, you can count on one hand. It's probably like 3 this season. He probably won't get that many shot opportunities. So I'm going to take it. Normally his line is around 13.5, but today Vegas is giving him a 10.5 point line, plus 100 value. I really like it, so we're going to ride with Mikal Bridges under 10.5 points. Those are going to be my 5 bets of the day. We got 3 player props, 2 spread picks. Consider some more. Consider, if you want to look at a couple different ones, I consider the Jazz first quarter spread. It's like 4.5 points. Now, they just lost. How did they lose to the Pelicans? It beats me, but I think they'll come out with a vengeance. There was a couple other we did look at. Like I said, Trae Young over in points and assists was a pretty good one. Just not going to force that bet because I don't, like I said, want 3 bets in one game because then you just never know. A Knicks blowout and we're screwed on all 3 of them. So I won't do that. Now, there's a couple other. I considered Nikola Vucevic's lines. Bam Adebayo has a pretty good matchup against Vucevic. There's a bunch of different lines out there we considered, but some of them we don't have. So maybe check the pinned comment down below. See if we kind of add something as the day goes on. NFL player props and best bets video will be live later tonight. So make sure you're checking that out as the NFL is live tomorrow, week 12. And of course, check out Logan's college football best bets video. It will be on the screen. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. This has been Austin. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.